What's going on, guys? Dan here, DD Speed Shop. I put out last couple of videos I put out have been of this car, 66 four-door sedan, which I've converted into a two-door sedan, or converting, I should say, because she got a ways to go. Anyways, that's kind of irrelevant, but I've been getting piles and piles and piles of comments on those last two videos, which has been great. And honestly, 95% or more have been positive comments. I didn't know I could do that, or asking questions about it, or giving little tips and tricks and all that, and people reminiscing of the cars they did have and all that, which is always a fun part of the of YouTube. And I wish I could respond to every single comment, but I just can't. Anyways, there's that other 5% of negative comments, and I don't really want to address that too much, because honestly, the negative comments don't really bother me. I've got a pretty thick skin, and I realize what I'm doing is I'm putting it out on the internet for people to judge. So with the good, you have to take the bad, and that's fine. It actually doesn't really bother me. It's kind of funny, and honestly, the best part is when some of the negative comments are correct. But that's the way she goes. But what got me thinking, because every time I do something that's a little, I don't want to say harebrained, but just not exactly the way it should be done, or I don't put a brand new panel on, I make something, or something wasn't exactly the way it's factory, or any of that sort of stuff, some of the negative people come out and they like to tell you how wrong you are. And let's be honest, the best way to find out how to do something is to go ahead and do it, put it out on the internet, and then people tell you in the comments the right way to do it. But anyway, so we got this thing kind of patched together. And the negative comments are coming across, and they're very simple, along the lines of, it's still a four-door, the VIN doesn't lie, I'm a hack, I shouldn't be doing the post like this, am I ever going to finish it properly, or is it going to be another not finished car where the back window is just glued in, and all those things. The front seat's stupid now because it doesn't have a folding front seat. Four doors are better because you can get your gear and your friends in the back without having to hop around, all that stuff, and that's fine. And honestly, you're probably correct, but I'm building my car, and I just happen to be putting it out there on the internet. Again, I'm fine with the comments. But it got me thinking back to, I don't know, years ago when I was first getting into the hot rods and stuff like that. And I would take stuff like that, especially from older guys who maybe were a little better off and stuff like that, or knew a little more than I did, and would you take what they're saying as kind of some gospel, and you got to use that going forward. So if you get the negative comments going, especially the new people in, they're not going to carry on with their hot rods. And I know myself, even when I was, we're going back 15 years, I've never been into import cars and right-hand drive stuff, and the big mufflers on four cylinders and wings and lots of camber and all those sort of things. It was never my jam. But as I get older, I'm actually, well, here we are, I'm going to do a little four-cylinder turbo motor on an old car and stuff like that. So I've come around to it. But not that I was ever negative to those people about it, but I sure didn't have anything nice to say about it. But now, as I'm older and a small amount wiser, I think those guys what they're doing is great. It's not my deal, but I'm glad they're doing it, because they're keeping the hobby alive in some which way, which is better than nothing. Would I love it if everybody was in the Tri-5s and stuff like that? I guess so. But I mean, even that, then it doesn't become as special. So these guys that are doing their, four-door Subarus that they're delivering pizza with, but they can also make into a hot rod and do their own custom touches to, I'm into it now. I mean, I don't think I'd put strobe lights and stuff like that on any of my cars, but if that's what they think is cool, have at her. Everyone has their own kind of vision as to what they want to do, and this is mine. Probably wrong to a lot of people, but it's what I enjoy doing. It's cheap and all that sort of stuff. I always look at hot rodding right back to the roots, as I understood it, where guys came back from the war, you kind of start hot rod stuff, you got all this surplus material, and they're taking whatever they can, be it military surplus and all that sort of stuff, and putting in hot rods, doing these different things, and really chopping up these cars and making them cool. And it really wasn't a lot of money that they were putting in those things, but it was a lot of time. And that's where I'm at. I don't have a lot of money in this car. I have a lot of time and a lot of effort, and I mean, stuff like welding gas and all that. But that's kind of the way it is, and that's, I think, the root of hot rodding, which I love. And I mean, obviously I have a type, kind of mid-50s to mid-70s cars is what I enjoy. But I realized the older stuff is cool. I mean, I have had some of it, but not a whole lot. And the late model stuff, it's hard to argue with how much horsepower and all that these guys can get out of 4-cylinders or LS motors and all that, like these Hondas and whatnot. It's cool. I don't think I want to own it. There's all the exotic guys. I mean, Porsches and Lamborghinis and Ferraris and all those sort of things. But again, and even that, you see those guys think they're a pompous asshole, which some of them may be, but it's what they enjoy, so it's what they're doing. And I just kind of keep thinking about that. The negativity and the kind of little clicks and all that, if that's being said, especially to the person, it can really slow them down. Like this car here, at the end of the day, where it sits right now is completely valueless. It's not a 4-door. It's not a 2-door anymore. It's not a 2-door yet, I should say. It's not running and driving. There's no glass in it. It's worse off than when I got it. Now, what I enjoy doing is obviously getting a car that was right on the cusp of being crushed or turned into a pop can and bringing it back. So I never feel bad about what I do, because this car here, it had been off the road for 20 some odd years. If I didn't buy it, it would have been squeezed, or it would have been a parts car, it would have been over. The fact that it's gonna be back on the road, any which way I do it, I still look at it as a win. Even if you guys don't agree, it's still a win, because the car's turning wheels, it's out there, someone else can enjoy it, and it's not scrap. So that's the win for me. But that being said, I think to myself 15 years ago, and I had this happen, where a neighbor would come down and look at what I was doing and go, oof, that's pretty rough, or I wouldn't have done that, or any of these things. And fortunately, it didn't really affect me too much. I don't have a whole lot of care. I just kind of enjoy doing what I do. But I know some people can really dwell on that, and that might have killed their dream, killed the hobby, killed all that sort of stuff. Would I love to just open up the Summit book and order one of everything, a crate motor and all this stuff for this thing, and disc brakes and all that? Absolutely. But I mean, for me, it's a bit of a business. You have to realize money in and money out. Is this the car I've dreamt of my whole life? No. This is a car that a month ago I happened to see, and I bought it, brought it home. We're making a fun little project out of it, and we'll carry on. So I have to be able to justify the money I put into it and the time and all that, and then carry on to the next one. And a lot of people are in the same exact boat. If you're working 40 hours a week and doing your thing, and you got kids and hockey or basketball or ballet or whatever the heck it is, and you only have 5 hours of time and $200 in your paycheck, there's only so much you can do. And I think if you're in a car, you should spend that money on the car and do the best you can. It might take you a little longer, but don't let anybody bring you down. And if you're the guy doing that, shame on you. You should be there helping the guy along, or hey, here's what I've learned, or here's what can work, or here's all these things, because the negativity is what's going to ultimately kill hot rodding. We can't afford to lose anybody. We need as many people as we can to fight this battle. You go back to, I mean, imagine the first guy that took a flathead Ford out of like a Model A or a 32 Ford or something like that and put it in a small block Chevy. Like, they probably thought he was crazy. Well, now everybody does that. I realize, I'm sure there's a lot of you guys who think that's the worst thing you could ever do. But I just wanted to kind of get that off my chest real quick. Hot rodding is, we got enough enemies as it is. We sure as heck don't want to be each other's enemy. So whatever the neighbor's working on, the guy down the road, you got to have some respect for it. People that act like idiots or do stuff that negatively, work against us, let them have it. Let those guys absolutely have it. Something that's unsafe, I think you should absolutely call somebody out on something that's unsafe, but there's no point making them feel bad about it. I mean, be smart about it. We don't know everything. I got an old 47 Chevy, it's been on the channel a little bit. A lot of people want to see it again. And you know what my issue with that car? I built that car 15 years ago. I sold all my hot rods, moved out of my parents' place, and a year later I scraped together whatever money I had, and I bought the thing for $1,800 or something like that. And that thing was a shoestring budget. I had no money whatsoever, but I got it together and I had myself a hot rod again. And I was 19 or 18, 19, whatever it was. $0. The thing was absolutely butchered together. I had hardly any tools, because up until that point I've been borrowing my old man's tools, who he had, I don't know, 50 grand worth of tools in the garage. I had a little tiny garage. I had a terrible flux core welder and a set of, Canadian Tire or whatever it was tools, and I put it together, uninsulated garage, the whole thing. But I had a hot rod, and I drove the wheels off that thing. Anyways, fast forward now, 15 years. I haven't been driving it in many, many years, and every time I look at it, I go, ooh, this thing is rough, and ooh, I got to redo this, and oh, whoever did that was a butcher. and I was that butcher. And I'm still not great, as you guys can tell. But you start off and you carry on, you get better and better and better. So, I don't know, be nice to each other. Try and keep this hobby alive as much as we possibly can. If you can help the guy out, give him a part, give him a little bit of advice, give him a pat on the back. I'd recommend doing that. If you have something negative to say, put it in my comments. I can take it. Or Uncle Tony, he's a tough guy too. He loves them, to be honest with you. And we'll carry on. The guy's putting it out there for everybody to watch. By all means, I just want to make sure if you guys are the ones commenting, don't do it in public. Try and be nice. Just make fun of the guy behind his back to your buddy so he never knows. He'll keep doing his thing. Thanks for watching. Keep hot rodding alive.